Hi, I'm from Tompkins County, and as a former volunteer firefighter, I'd like to thank the Dresden Fire Department for hosting this event, at least providing the facility. Also thank the Public Service Commission. And I'd like to start maybe with a challenge, Mr. Irwin. I like your presentation. And one of the things, I'm glad that you're willing to give tours. I'm ready to sign up for the tour. One of the things I'd like to see on the tour is when we're out walking in the garden, so to speak, down by the lake, there are a number of monitoring wells with little numbers on them. But I think it's important for everyone that lives in this county and in central New York to know what the record is on those monitoring wells. What's, how much arsenic, selenium, cadmium, mercury, thallium, those are all heavy metals that are in coal. When you burn coal, you intensify those heavy metals by a factor of about 10. And so one of the things, I've been studying coal ash for some time over on Cuba Lake. We have a 38-acre coal landfill over there. It's about a mile from the lake. The contamination plume has moved down gradient towards the lake, and guess what? The owners of the power plant stopped putting in monitoring wells because they decided it was more convenient not to know where the contamination plume was getting to. So when I look at this site, okay, Lockwood's up there quite a ways away, but it's within 200 yards of the Cuba Lake outlet, and it releases effluent into that. But what worries me more is from 1937 to 1988, coal ash was dumped right here next to the lake. And I think it's very important to know how much risk, how much seepage there is into the lake. So that's one thing that needs to be done. I hope it's on the tour. But a couple of people have mentioned, Timothy Dennis being one of them, about best technology. And I see this project as more getting a foot in the door, and then we might do best technology. When U.S. Salt converted their evaporator plant to biomass, if you go to echo.epa.gov, you can see that a lot more Clean Air Act violations, that it's much harder to abide by the Clean Air Act when you're burning biomass compared to natural gas. So what I've heard tonight is there's not very much gas available. We think there might be a pipeline in the future, but another half of the landowners have to come through in some respect. I'm also concerned, I know that the wedge wire filtering on intakes is, quote, required, but there's a lot of slack. The DEC has had their budgets cut many times. They're just not able to do enforcement the way we'd like to see it happen. So the Cuba plant has been talking about putting in wedge wire for probably 10 years, and it hasn't happened yet, so don't hold your breath. Best technology for cooling is not a one-time through from the lake and back out it goes with all that heat. It's to do cooling towers, the way they do in the UK and other parts in this country. Just take some water out of the lake and just recycle it in those cooling towers. It's only going to cost you another 10%. It's much better for the lake, better for everyone else. And also, this plant, no one's mentioned combined cycle. There are a lot of very efficient natural gas burning power plants here, but they're combined cycle. This approach, I'm guessing, because no one has said, is a kludge. You're just going to use that same 1953 boiler, and you're going to put fuel oil, biomass, and eventually a lot of natural gas. That's a kludge. That's a much more inefficient plant, and when natural gas prices come up, this plant is not going to be economic. If it was a heartbreak 3 years ago when this shut down, I was a member of the U.S. Steelworkers in Buffalo. Republic Steel, that shut down. A lot of heartbreak there. Don't invest in the past. This plant is a dinosaur, and I would urge you to think of what Massachusetts has done with a lot of their brownfields. This is a brownfield. Is put photovoltaics across it. It's a win-win situation. You're using that landscape for something productive, but you're no longer contaminating. And that's about it. Thank you very much for the privilege of speaking.
Would you open